I'm Cardini. This is.
It's Kennedy, mate. It's Kennedy.
Kennedy, whatever it is. I'm not great with names, mate. I didn't pass school.
I'm with Thomas Wren here. He's currently the second strongest man in Australia. Big Wren. How you doing, man?
Hey, mate, how are you? It's good to be your first, your cherry pop, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Sydney's my home. It'll probably be my home forever. I love this place. I got into Strongman because I watched Strongman as a kid. My dad and I used to just watch it all the time. He taught me how to lift, mainly powerlifting and bodybuilding. You know, when I was 14, 15, I could bench press double my body weight and squat double my body weight, more than double my body weight. So I was pretty gifted as a kid. I then went into rugby, which I actually sort of regret. I picked up a whole bunch of injuries. I was very good. I played in Division 1, so just under the Waratahs. I had a contract lined up for Waratahs and I got injured. I got pretty good at rugby and the injuries were just too much. I busted my ankles, damaged all the nerves in my shoulders. And playing juniors, they don't give a crap about your health. They just honestly strap you back up and send you back out.
Especially if you're front row.
Yeah.
Front row, you're expendable.
Oh, pretty much. I played tight and loose head. I was pretty interchangeable. We just ended up getting busted up, and I had to make the decision of keep playing rugby with the hope of getting a contract or go to work. So I had to go to work, and I became a builder. I played rugby, then I went back to training, and then life took over, and I got really unhealthily fat. There was a point where I said, I've got to do something or I'm going to die. Actually, a doctor said to me, you're going to die. With a high level of having a heart attack at 5, I ended up being 27, and I was 156 kilos and probably over that body. I was gross. And then I made the choice. I went, stuff it, I'm going to do it. And then got back into training and then saw an advert for New South Wales Strongest Man. And I'd been talking to Phil Burgess on and off for years before that because I wanted to do it. And I was like, yep, let's do it. This was like at 25, 2014. I was like, always wanted to do it and off and on and never put the trigger. And then I was I was just disgustingly obese. I went, stuff it, let's do it. Then I had to sign up for a feeder comp, which was at PTC Macarthur. And after I did the first event, and I was hooked. It was over. It was like heroin, man. It was like instant addiction, mate.
I know how you feel, mate. I know how you feel. Yeah. That's
I think most strongman athletes or powerlifters, as soon as you do your first comp, you're hooked, man. It's not like no other drug. It is insane.
You get the bug, yeah.
Oh, it's a bug and a half, isn't it?
I think a lot of strongmen actually have a lot of not in a bad way, but a lot of addictive personalities.
As someone that's had addiction, I'd rather this addiction than.
Absolutely.
So, as addictions go, this one's a lot healthier.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you call healthy. Depends what you think of healthy.
Is it really healthy?
It keeps you more focused. I do really dumb shit when I'm not focused.
Yeah, I think a lot of us need something to like harness energy in and just focus on and just put your head down and just get it done.
For sure, absolutely.
Because I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't have Strongman. I have my garage gym and during especially this coronavirus, like I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't have Strongman, you know?
Oh, I think it's the same with everyone. People are finding out what's important in their lives, and physical education. What would you say? Physical education and physical output is a very important thing, and it's driving people nuts. I'm glad that I have hoarded gym equipment over years. I'm being able to train at full pace. I had a couple of weeks off. I actually injured my back earlier this week, so I've had a couple of days off. But I'm at full pace, mate. So we've got new goals over this COVID period, and we're going after them.
Yeah, you got a sweet setup at your gym as well. I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, man, I've got about 1,000 kilos worth of plates, 1,500 kilos worth of dumbbells, bars, squat rack. I just had a new bench made. I've got to fit that up with some leather and some padding. we're deadlifting and benching and squatting and pressing, so got a log. And I'm not doing too many strongman movements. Basically, we're building the powerlifting base. If you're not doing strongman, you should be doing powerlifting.
Because you're going for a special number in powerlifting, aren't you?
Yeah, I buggered up 1,000 before, but this time I'll smash it. I'll get it comfortable.
Yeah, I know you will.
I had a 400 kilo squat before, and I screwed that meet up big time. I went and Chuck Vogelpolled the bar and headbutted the shit out of it.
That's the one when you smacked your head on the bar.
Yeah, I thought that would psych me out for the lift, and all it did was screw it up, and I buggered the first lift. And unfortunately, on the final lift, 380, I put the rib. Because it's just so much different. Powerlifting's a different animal. And like strongman, you can sort of like muscle your way through shit. In powerlifting, you can't. You've got to be technical. Absolutely technical.
I've never done a powerlifting meet, but I started off with like squat, bench, deadlift. That's where I built my foundation. But I wanted to do powerlifting originally, but I sucked at it, so I moved to strongman. Where I can
it's the cues, man. The cues are crazy. Like strongman, it advice to new people coming into the sport. Don't worry at the beginning. You should focus on squat, bench, deadlift, shoulder press. That's it. Back exercises twice a week. You need the biggest back bucket. Back's more important than just about anything else. With a shit back, you ain't got nothing. They're 4 key things.
So that's like your meat and potatoes right there, yeah.
The rest comes off it. So, the rest are accessories for those 4 lifts.
What about like all the movie events, like conditioning that? Because when I went into comps where like I've never touched sandbags before, I'm like, how hard can it be? Like they were really hard, and
that comes
I've
in.
had trouble with those in the past.
For me, that's the 6 weeks before comp. Event training, you shouldn't be doing event training to build strength. It just doesn't do it. So, strength is the meat and potato stuff, the 4 key lifts. If you can't squat much, you ain't going to do a 400 kilo yoke. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Well, you have to be able to have all that core thing. So the core should come first, and then the accessories should be strongman when you're building strength phase. When you're going into comp phase, you should be doing comp movements, and your accessories should be squat, bench, deadlift.
And front squats.
And front squats, yeah. Front squats, that's good. So front squats are awesome. I hate them, but they're awesome.
No, I love them. I love front squats because I'm good at them. So
I don't like. I fucking hate them. I've got nice, beautiful, soft shoulders for people to touch, not put.
You get used to it though. The first few times I did it, it was really like digging in. I was like, how do people do this? You end
up getting blue bruises across your collarbones. So.
Actually, the biggest problem I get, because I do the arm crossover, and so when I do, my biceps cramp up.
Yeah,
doesn't do that.
No, I'm good with that. So I find that it rolls off the front of my delts a little bit unless I want to choke myself. You just got to do it over and over again.
Like I'll do front squats before back squats. I reckon it carries over the strongman better.
It does carry over, but doesn't give you that ultimate strength because you can get a lot more volume in your back squats. For us, the primary lift is back squat, and then the secondary lifts are a front squat. That's the accessories to it.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah, for sure. I will go 400 this year in squats, maybe a bit more. I'd like to go more, and maybe 280 bench, something like that. Yeah, I've got short T-Rex arms, mate. So at the moment, we're just doing like 80% of what I could do before, and that's easy. I'm 190 repping for. I reckon I could do nearly 8 in a row right now at 190. So, it's probably 230, something like that at the moment.
You got incredible pressing power. Like static strength is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm fat. When we did I did a body scan, and it says that my upper body is well out of proportion to my lower body. Like, yeah, duh. I've just got massive shoulders and chest. So, I love pressing. My favorite lift at the moment would be log press, and pressing just in general. I love bench.
Who are some of your role models?
My favorite strongman of all time has got to be Pudzianowski. He brought an intensity that no one else sort of has. I love Mikhail Koklev and just some of the stuff he does. no-handed squats at 300 kilos. Like, that's crazy. I have had the pleasure of meeting Zydrunas Savickas. He is absolutely incredible. Just being around him is sort of like intoxicating. It's just, he's like a leviathan. He glides everywhere he goes. And someone who's become a friend of mine is Bill Kazmaier, who's actually working with me now as a mentor.
Very entertaining guy.
People get the wrong side of him, but he's so down to earth. He's just had a different life experience from everybody else. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met. He just wants to help. I've got him on my team. So, nerd to the rest of you.
He's like the blueprint of hard work. I've heard his stories. He worked hard when he was.
He worked hard, and he worked his ass off. This is the first person to ever bench 300 kilos in a stand up and give him props for it. Yeah. He said some silly things on social media, and from my understanding, he was on prescription medication. People don't know he had a triple bypass. He had a heart attack and almost died. So, there's a whole bunch of stories about it that aren't true. So they made a bunch of shit up. He is actually an intelligent and good man.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to work with him.
He would have been great for wrestling as well.
He was great at wrestling. He was fantastic at wrestling. He just the personification of attitude is awesome. So, and he has so much knowledge. Like, the knowledge bombs are insane. And that Australian tour that they fucked him over on, you guys actually don't understand how much knowledge you lost. The rest of Australia need to respect him a bit more, because he has 3 world strongest men and 2 world titles. He's done it all. He was a pro wrestler. Like, come on. Like, everything that everyone else is doing now, he has already done. And he was so strong, he got banned. They stopped inviting him to competition. That's telling you something. They didn't stop Marius. They did him for drugs. They didn't stop Zydrunas. They haven't stopped anyone else. They stopped him from competing because he was just too good.
Who has been your number one rival?
Oh, yeah, that's funny. I think everyone knows who that is. I said to Eddie Williams in 2007 that he'd never beat me. We haven't actually gone up against each other since. In Australia's Strongest Man 27, so ASA's 2017 I won. 2018 I blew my back out deadlifting, and I was essentially training out of a chair for 6 months. So I missed the ASA's 2018. Then I was back and I was very, very strong for the 2018 ASM. And 4 weeks out I tore my AC under a yoke in training. So I missed a big section of that. 2019, I went to American Arnold's and I was incredibly strong again. We were fixed. And then 2019, I didn't do anything. I did a powerlifting comp, and then Australia's Strongest Man. And I think everyone knows how that went. And for those of you that don't, that would you should find out about that. Everyone in Australia knows who my biggest rival is, and a lot of people hate me for it too.
No, it's sport, mate. What do you do?
You've got to have some rivalries and some animosity.
Yeah, that's right.
I know. I have a feeling what your next question.
What was going through your head when you flipped him off?
Coco's a great presser, and I was, it's no. I've done that lift, and I've done more in competition. In Arizona, I did the same weight but more reps, so I knew I had more in me. Unfortunately, in a deadlift, I slipped my L5 again, which is a reoccurring injury. I keep damaging my L5. It's getting better now. We've got it sort of sorted. I keep damaging my L5. So I got 5 when he got 5 lifts. When Coco got 5 on the log, I thought maybe I was struggling. I was in so much pain. Basically, we put my belt on. I had my brother. I grabbed the pole and he put my belt on so tight I could barely So, and that was the only way I could get through it. And when I got the 5th rep, I just, something inside my head just went, you know what? Fuck it. You just proved that you're up there. And you know what? It was probably the wrong thing to do. Do I regret it? No. It was very funny. Very funny.
That's the way I saw it. Was like Kogo seems like he's like the presser of the country, and you're kind of like saying, "Screw you, I'm there with you."
It's arrogant. Screw you, I'm there with you. Yeah. You ain't the best. And that's actually what I said.
See, I didn't think you were going to be as good as you were because you don't really post much. And that's how you like it. So you came in as the dark horse, And
there's a reason. Everyone underrated. Everyone underrated me.
Yeah, even me. Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone did. Even with all the posts about all this other crap, and they don't know what I've done overseas. No one kept the track of what we did overseas. Right. The same with Lucha. When Lucha and I went to American Arnold's last year, no one gave a crap. Actually, no one gave a crap. So we got nothing for it from no one, and it's silly because there's a few people in this sport that basically get jerked off because they are special. But there's other people going around the world doing crazy stuff and get no recognition, and it's bullshit. So I came 15th in the world in amateurs, and I should have been in top 10, but I made a big effort. I was nervous as crap because unless you've competed at Arnold's Ohio, you have no idea of the pressure. Like, the pressure's another level, man. Like, there is 1,000 people watching you, and there's 40 other competitors in your group.
Yeah, it's a big
one. One slip up takes you from 8th to 21st.
Yeah, you gotta be perfect
all the time. I buggered that up. I could freely admit it. I tripped on nothing.
It was the invisible man.
It was the invisible man. It's like tripping over underwater. Well, it was just stupid. It was a huge mistake, and I buggered.
And your belt came off as well during the log press.
That was okay. So that was a 150 log, and I got 5 reps there too. So and I didn't even have a belt on for that one. So everyone underrates me for pressing big time. And
they misloaded the deadlift as well.
Yeah, the deadlift was 15 kilos heavier or something. So no, they buggered it up. So I think what it was is they didn't have the right weight on the bar. The bar was a different weight. The bar was heavy, and that was everyone's bar was the same. So no one got preferential treatment.
But it works out even anyway.
Bobby Thompson is an absolute beast. He did 8 reps and then passed out and headbutted the floor, and still won the whole comp. He's a freak, a monster.
Yeah, he was at the Arnold Classic this year.
Yeah.
Who's the most underrated strongman in Australia?
Me.
Who's the most overrated strongman in Australia?
I don't think there's anyone overrated. I think people are praised more than others. I think people are catching up to others. I think Eddie was well ahead of everyone, and now everyone's catching up to him, or caught up to him. So there's a few of us that are catching up in that respect. He's the best mover of the entire group of all of us.
Yeah.
Definitely. On moving events, no one can touch him. So, or we're close, but he still wins. But static events, he gets handed. So, except deadlift, he's a good deadlifter. So, I don't think anyone's overrated by any means.
Who's going to win ASM 2020?
Me.
If they have it.
No, they'll have it. Well, the problem is everyone will be undertrained. So they'll have it, but everyone will just be undertrained.
I won't be.
Oh, neither will I. But
I don't know how I'm going to get there. If they miss the Arnold's this year, they probably won't. But if they did, I don't know how I'm going to make it to ASM.
Nah.
Yeah,
there's no way they can fit that and ASM inside a couple of months this year.
It's another year.
It's another year. I know this will piss me off. It's another year.
Deadlift or farmer's walk?
I hate them both. Deadlift over farmers. I got shit grip.
Deadlift or yoke?
Deadlift. Depends which yoke. I have to say, a standard submit yoke, I'd probably do a standard. I'd go yoke, but the normal yokes you have in your gym are crap. So
they wobble around, don't they? They break your back.
Oh my god! I did 500 kilos right before Arnold's, run around on a normal gym yoke, and it was possibly the worst thing I've ever done. It was just absolutely disgusting. I did 410 in America last year at Jerry Pritchett's show on this dirty yoke that its minimum, it weighed 300 kilos dry. Without weights, the damn yoke weighed 660. It was the worst thing I've ever picked up. It was absolutely foul. People think Australian comps are heavy. That was absolutely brutal. 320 kilo Conan's wheel. Anyone in Australia think they can do that? Shove it. You've never fucking tried that shit. That's world's strongest man weights.
Conan's wheel, is that like the Zercher?
Yeah, Zercher. We're doing 320 kilo Zerchers.
Yeah, we did 240 at New South Wales Strongest Man.
Yeah, we did. It was 720 pound Conan's wheel.
Yeah, I would have heard, eh?
Oh, it was insane. And there was a guy there that weighed 200 kilos.
No worries.
He was huge.
What does it take to get to the level you're currently at? What can people expect to go through to be amongst the strongest men in the country? How many years have you given? How much discipline, like sleep and eating? How much training and how much thought do you have to put into it? Do you have to obsess about it every day?
Yeah, you do. You have to obsess about it every day. I've given 3 years and I've eaten, slept, thought about it every night. It's gotten worse. I've given up time with my kids. This is what I want to do for a career. I unfortunately made some mistakes, lost some things that I probably didn't want to lose. I'm not going to get them back. You got to be willing to give up shit, honestly. Unless you have people in your corner, or you're single, you're going to give up stuff. So
yeah.
Those people have got to be willing and willing for the journey. And if they're not, then you're going to lose them. If it's really what you want to do, and it's what you must have, then you're going to give shit up. I will absolutely die going after my goals. I want them more than anything. So I want to show my son that if you want something bad enough, all you got to do is go.
Yeah.
If a professional tells me that if I keep doing this, I'm going to die, I'll probably stop because I want to grow up with my boy. At the moment, everything's all right. So full steam ahead, mate.
That's what it takes, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, it is. You've got to not care about your future.
Yeah, it's one thing to go from just regional, but to get to that world stage.
I've competed at amateur worlds. The guys that won that are giving up shit.
None of those guys are just doing it for a hobby, eh?
Well, no. Or they've got a really good support system. If they do have a family, then their family is 100% behind. If your family's not 100% behind them, you're going to kiss goodbye to your family. So you've got to make a really serious choice. Yeah, it's not good. For some reasons, I lost my relationship for this, which makes me want it, apart from some problems that come with that, it makes me want it even a bit more. Just to prove to some people that they were wrong.
I think a lot of the people in the sport's about proving something. I think all of us have something.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it.
Get done.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't put your body through this.
Go through this much.
Unless you were proving some stuff. Same with any sport, really, any competitive sport. Focus. That's all. Zuna said to me, he breathes, he just lives for strongman. He doesn't waste any energy unless it's for strongman. He made a joke about not pressing play on the radio because it wastes energy for strongman. His wife laughed at him and made fun of him. But he's like, he doesn't listen to music unless someone else has put it on because all he gives a crap about is training. You have to have that. I've spent time and trained with Matt Wenning, who is all-time world record holder in powerlifting. He ate, slept, drank, thought about powerlifting. That's how he became a world record holder. The only way you can do it is by it being your life. And it's got to be your life. If it's not your life, you're not going to be successful. If you've got a job, your job is to make money to go and do that. Honestly, that's it. So, your job is to make money to go and do weightlifting. At the moment, there's not much money in weightlifting. Most people have got a job. Unfortunately, I'm a builder, which means I thrash my body during the day and then have to go and train on it. And for you guys out there, I don't take pre-workout. If you can't do it without pre-workout, you can't do it anymore.
No, you should be enthusiastic, right?
Yeah. So
you need to want it. That's the same with me. I actually deliberately got a truck driving job just so I could recover throughout the day. That's what I did.
Unfortunately, I've got child support to pay, so a truck driver job probably doesn't work out.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's right. So, I'm good at building. I build bespoke houses and one-off houses, and we do quite well. So you got to do what you got to do. I trained as a carpenter, and I know it, so it's easy for me. Right. So and it takes a long time to build a business up. It's taken me 15 years to build this business.
In 2004, Mariusz Pudzianowski was disqualified for what? A. Slapping a competitor. B. Disrespecting a judge. C. Split jerking an overhead. D. Having illegal substances in his system. Is that D?
He got done for narcotics. It was speed. He was high as a fucking kite.
Did you see him after on the podium how he was like playing with the those drums?
Yeah, he was off his fuck.
It was the funniest thing ever. Question number 2. World's Strongest Man is a very diverse sport and was quite the spectacle back in the day. Which of these was a real event? A. Book tearing. B. Boulder throwing. C. Bending steel bars with the head. D. Breaking open locked implements.
Bending steel bars was because Bill Kazmaier tore his bicep off. He tore his pen to his bicep. Dislodged his bicep.
Alright, question number 3. Joseph Greenstein, also known as the Mighty Atom, was a famous strongman in the 20th century. Which of these feats didn't he do? A. Bend horseshoes. B. Beat concrete to a pulp. C. Pull cars with his hair. D. Bite the heads off nails.
I know someone bit the heads off nails and re-bent horseshoes. I would say smashed concrete into pulp.
Lock that in?
Yeah, I'd lock that in. I don't know.
Good job, well done.
Good. Clean living, no smoking, no alcohol, no squandering your life.
This one should be easy for you. Which all-time great strongman tore 2 hamstrings, a pectoral muscle in competitions and went on to win anyway? A.
My mentor. I don't care.
Very good.
We went 870 in the squat. I tore kind of like hamstring adductor. Went. Then I wrapped it. We went 950 and I tore the other one. Well, Josh, next lift is deadlift. What are you going to do? 2 torn hammies.
You won.
Yeah, but what would you do?
What year did the IFSA and World's Strongest Man split? A. 2005, B. 2004, C. 2003, D. 2002.
I think it was 2003.
Lock that in?
Yeah, lock that in.
What, C. 2003?
C. 2003.
Sorry, mate. It's 2004.
Ah, damn.
You don't know history.
I don't know.
You don't know strongman history.
I was 1 year, That was when Zadrunas went and won 2 world titles. Because that's the only time IFSA was there. They were there for 2 years.
What about the time no one talks about when Mariusz beat Big Z by 20 points?
He beat him for 3 years running. Actually, he beat him 5 years. He beat him 2 years and then IFSA split. And then beat him 3 years and IFSA split. Then he won again. Then Vereshchuk won one. Then Puds won again. And then he retired after Big Z flogged him.
Did Big Z flog him?
Yeah, when Big Z's first title, he flogged. He gave Mariusz a bit of a tail up.
That went both ways.
Yeah. But you gotta understand, Big Z wasn't competing when hadn't competed, and Marius was already one of the top guys. So Big Z was only up and coming when Marius started winning.
The log press Australian record. If you want to talk about that,
it would have been mine. It will be mine.
Is it going to be yours?
If they do a max, if like at Australia's Southern Hemispheres, they got a max log. I plan to take it there.
210 kilo.
210 kilo. Yeah, for sure. My plan is to take it. I'll just leave that there with an exclamation point up.
You versus Coco in a 100-meter sprint. Who would win?
He can have that. A snail would beat me because I'd take a couple of steps. This just isn't worth it. Why am I doing? And funny what it is, I used to be a 100-meter sprinter.
Is that why you hate farmers?
Probably. I don't like it.
ASM or Arnold's?
If it's a pro show at Arnold's, then probably Arnold. ASM's good to see the talent in Australia. I do think that Arnold should have more Australians in it. If you go to Arnold's America, but Arnold's Canada, it's like 50% Canada. If you go to Arnold's Europe, it's full of European. You know, Arnold's Australia should have been 50% from this area and the rest the other pros. Gives the Australians an opportunity to be able to go in the best state.
Well, how many pros does Australia have?
Well, call them up. Like Eddie's there. They should have called Rongo and just make them do it. Like, you got to do it. If you want to keep your pro card, you got to do it. So
I don't know what's with people not competing.
Yeah,
I think you should always be competing.
And they should have as many Australians in there as they should, and stop pissing about with you might get in there. Like, just go, no, 50% Australians, because it's not giving Australians enough opportunity to win a big event.
You have 2 Aussies in there out of 10.
Out of 10.
Yeah, the odds aren't that good, are they?
What's the point? So, and what they don't know is when you win, when you get to that big show, the next year, all of your flights and accommodation are paid for. That takes a lot of stress off the athlete, and they can just focus on training. That's how you get to be the top elites, is you get in the opportunity of that. Having to pay for your shit all the time, you're not going to be able to get there. And in Australia, it's really expensive. Really expensive to get anywhere to any show. Trust me, it cost me $20,000 last year to compete in America. Well, it's hard. It's really hard. You don't have any sponsors, and everyone's got to pay their own way. And that's what pissed me off about one of the groups in Australia from Queensland, when they rip on someone for asking, can we get donation? If you didn't donate, shut your lips. If you did donate, and you're happy to donate, that's perfectly fine. Don't make memes about people asking for help. They don't have sponsors. And that's one of the reasons why I did what I did at ASM. I don't like bullies, and I will tell them to their face.
I want to see squat back at more comps. I think squat should be done more often.
I think they should.
Not many events kind of test your leg power.
Yeah, so I actually came up and was talking with a promoter about a gym in Sydney I had an idea comp. And the comp was 3 powerlifting lifts and 3 strongman lifts. Okay, to actually see who was the strongest person across the board. So powerlifters could come in and strongmen. And you could see where you're placed.
That's sensible. Right.
Now that event got stolen. I was going to run a series. We might still do it. In Sydney, there was going to be 4 events, 2 at powerlifting gyms and 2 at strongman gyms. You'd have 2 powerlifting events and then 2 strongman events. And you had to compete in all of them to be able to go to the final. And the final was 1 day, 6 events. I wanted Shannon from Warriors to be part of it.
Yeah, I think he was saying something about setting up like a thing where you do like powerlifting comps and strongman comps, and after the whole year they kind of like round up all your points overall.
Yeah. Shannon is one hell of a dude. He is a very smart individual, man. Give him props. One of the top athletes, one of the top athletes in the world, wouldn't be as good as they are if it wasn't for Shannon. And one of the top trainers in the world wouldn't have a program if it wasn't for Shannon. Shannon's underrated, definitely. He's a fantastic coach and an all-round good dude.
George and Otis.
Yeah, I'm the most famous dogs on the planet, especially in powerlifting.
Yeah, they just hang out all the time in the gym.
Yeah, and Lauren's just one of the best humans I've run into. Big up Warrior Performance in Caringbah, mate.
Where did everything start for you?
So I said before about how I got really fat, and that came from a battle with mental health. This is strongman for me is mainly mental, and keeping me focused on something, because when I'm not focused, I do stupid. So when I was younger, I used to work in the nightclubs. In 2012, we had a child murdered. I can tell you then and there, it broke me as one of the most terrible things I've ever been through, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. So my partner at the time was attacked and killed our unborn child. It was one of the most unfortunate times of my entire life. And after that, I battled really badly with depression. And that's how I got really fat. I sunk myself into food, unhealthy lifestyle, drugs, and worse. And then my son came to it. That changed everything. My best friend came to me when my son was coming. He said to me that I had to get out, I had to stop that lifestyle. I was doing that lifestyle because I was desperate. You have something taken away from you that can't be replaced. No one can give that back to you. No one can understand what it's like unless you fucking... And I feel for my ex because it broke her as well as me. Terrible shit happened, and I don't know if I'll ever get over it. I still, we never came across that. We never fixed that. I just got out and started working, and I worked 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and just ate shit food because I was so fucking depressed. I was so bad that I couldn't go out in the open into places where there were people. I was uncomfortable. I had to sit in the corner of a room with my back to the wall at all times, because I was just afraid of everything. And the depression got worse. I didn't really realize what it was, and I got fatter and fatter and fatter, and then the depression got worse because I was fat. So, and then there was this tipping point. My son was born. We were going through this period. It was 2014. So 1 month before my son was born, the cafe partner and I had burnt down. So, and no, it wasn't. We didn't light the damn thing on fire because we didn't have insurance. So it cost me a lot of money, like a lot of money. So I had to go and work. And I worked, and it was just getting unhealthier and unhealthier. For the first 6 months of my son's life, I didn't get to see him because I was working. And then it got so bad, and then I went to the doctors, and the doctors are like, "You're going to die. You don't do something." And I was, like, it's a 26-year-old guy who just gets told that if you don't do something, you're going to die. I got back to Ben. I got to train again. I had someone training with me, and I had great results. And I found out that I could bench press really well again. So, and my squat started moving quickly, and I squatted more than I ever had before. And, I thought, actually, I'm quite gifted at this. So then I decided that I wanted to actually take the plunge in the strongman. So then I did, and did my first comp, and that became my addiction. And also like a comfort. So whenever I miss out on comps, it's like murder because it's the only thing I've got. The people go through shit in their lives. Usually come out on top. Sometimes they don't. I have friends that lost their battle with addiction. And some that triumph. It's interesting. Like most of us have some sort of backstory and why you do it. And for me, that's it. When you had something torn away from you that you can never get back, you got to focus on something. So, yeah, that was a big one.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I've seen you and your son. You got a good kid there, man. You got a really good kid.
That's my life. His sister, I love his sister just like him. So I'd do anything for the kids. I'd give up strongman if I had to.
You've been through tough times, man, and you are, like you said, you've made it through it. You've overcome.
People should realise they can get through shit. I have a fantastic, like a great support network. If I didn't, I wouldn't have killed myself. So, battling with suicide is crazy. It's not good.
And I've noticed a lot of like top competitors, like even Eddie Hall, have this in common. They're driven by not being dealt the best cards throughout their life. Do you think a tough backstory is crucial for the foundation of a successful strongman? Does character come first?
Usually, when you have what you see is with those guys with the not comfortable background, like usually it gives you a desire to succeed over anything. You'll do anything to succeed, and that's what that is. You're willing to give up and die because you don't give a shit.
Right.
So, and then there's the other side. I think it's less the fact that you go through bad shit and you do it. There's less people that happens to, and more that do it because of their character.
Right.
But probably the most successful people have usually been dealt pretty shit. Like if you look at Zadrunas, he grew up in occupied Lithuania.
Yeah.
Like that was absolutely shit, and he became the best ever.
Yeah.
So most of the top athletes, and the greatest, the phenomenons, guys that do better than everybody else and are legends, usually have shit up there.
It's because they've been so uncomfortable for so long that what is strongman, compared to that?
Yeah, for sure. It's the same in all sports, really. Usually people that aren't comfortable with themselves do great at something, try and make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And that's the battle, trying to make yourself feel better. But for me, strongman's about proving that shit happens, get through it. I'd say my coach, first and foremost. He's been with me for 3 years, and pretty much ride or die. He's a good friend of mine now, and I wouldn't do this without him. My cousin, who's at ASM, my family. The rest of my family support me pretty good, but there's 3 main ones. And my sponsors, first off was Plus Fitness, that was first to be on board. Black Lily Fine Foods then started, and they're now my major sponsor. They feed me, which is pretty good. And if you're part of my social media, then you'll see how much they feed me. And then Mid Mountains CrossFit that have come in the last year. Without these people, we can't do this, and we need more sponsors in the sport.
Well, thanks for the interview, Tom. That was sick.
Anytime.